So John Cena just won record-breaking title number 17, breaking Ric Flair's all-time world title reign record that's been held since 2000. I want to go back to all the title reigns John Cena has had throughout the years. And now, with that being said, I feel like a lot of these title reigns were mid and was unnecessary. So I'm going to go back in time and rebook every single John Cena title reign to see how many world title wins should John Cena actually have. With that being said, we're going to book it right now. Let's go. So, of course, I'm going to start off with WrestleMania 21, where John Cena won his very first title against JBL, who, to this day, I'm still shocked he was ever world champion and world champion for that long. But John Cena wins his first ever title and then turns the world title into a toy. But instead of him keeping that title all the way up until the following year, going into 2006, we're going to actually have him lose that title at Unforgiven, defending the title versus two legends in Kurt Angle and a heel, Shawn Michaels, where Shawn Michaels will win the WWE title, not only because Shawn has gone, at this point, 3 years without even holding a world title, but also it's kind of a thank you, Shawn, for doing business with Hulk Hogan that refused to allow you to go over him at SummerSlam. Plus, I think it would have been way entertaining. And now you have John Cena, who's supposed to be a top babyface, chasing for the title, where Cena will finally win the title back at Elimination Chamber at New Year's Revolution in 2006. But the actual timeline in real life will stay the same as Edge cashes in his Money in the Bank briefcase to finally win his first ever WWE title. But instead of having Cena win the title back 3 weeks later and bury Edge, we're not going to do that. Instead, Edge is going to defend his title at Royal Rumble versus Ric Flair. But Cena does eventually win a Beat the Clock challenge to be the number one contender for Edge's title at WrestleMania. So yeah, we actually get Edge versus Cena at WrestleMania one-on-one, something that we never actually got. And we're gonna add a little razzle-dazzle to it. And because Edge has been escaping Cena for weeks, we're gonna make it a steel cage match. Cena will go on to defeat Edge in a steel cage at WrestleMania 22 in Chicago to regain the WWE Championship. And in the real timeline, he will go on to defend it versus Rob Van Dam at ECW One Night Stand, where he will lose the title to RVD. And in the real timeline, he will go on to chase the title, which Edge would eventually get because RVD and Sabu couldn't stay off the weed. Yeah, so we have the Edge-Cena feud continuing from WrestleMania in the summer. In my alternative timeline, Edge retains the WWE Championship by handcuffing John Cena to the ropes, because if you're a top babyface, I still believe you should be chasing. But this will lead to Team Cena versus Team Edge at Survivor Series in Philadelphia, where Team Cena wins, setting up a match of John Cena versus Edge the Raw following Survivor Series for the title in a last man standing match. And John Cena regains the WWE title and finally defeats Edge again. Following WrestleMania 23, John Cena will have his toughest opponent to date, as he will face the undefeated Umaga, or as Regal would say, Umanga, for the WWE Championship at Backlash. And it is here where Cena would lose the title to Umaga, who is truly an unstoppable force and a monster that John Cena will eventually have to figure out how to conquer. However, John Cena never figures it out, as he chases to win that WWE title throughout the rest of the year, leading up to Royal Rumble 2008. in Madison Square Garden, where John Cena does win his first ever Royal Rumble. He will go on to challenge the World Heavyweight Champion in the main event of WrestleMania in Orlando, Florida, Batista. Yes, so we actually get John Cena versus Batista in the main event of WrestleMania 24. And Batista defeats John Cena to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. So now we're going on an entire year of John Cena not having the world title, which I think will endear fans to John Cena because he doesn't win all the time, which leads to him facing Randy Orton eventually for the WWE title at Judgment Day, and John Cena defeats Randy Orton to become the new WWE champion. They would feud throughout the summer, leading to John Cena facing the #1 draft pick going over to Raw in Batista. Batista that eventually lost his title to Edge. So Edge and Undertaker can feud over the title on SmackDown. Batista goes over to Raw, and John Cena gets a chance at redemption to see if he can finally defeat his greatest rival to date in Batista. And as John Cena has Batista's number, the Money in the Bank winner cashes in his Money in the Bank briefcase. And that man does have 3 syllables, but it's not CM Punk. It is MVP. Yes, it's still mind-boggling. MVP never became a world champion. It one of the few. It really shocks me. Out of all people, MVP never won. Anyway, MVP cashes in his Money in the Bank briefcase, preventing Cena from actually getting a win over Batista and basically stealing the title. So now Cena has to chase MVP for the rest of the year to try to get his title back, and he doesn't become successful until Royal Rumble 2009, where John Cena finally defeats MVP to regain his WWE title, which leads us to WrestleMania 25 in Houston, Texas, where John Cena will be in the main event of WrestleMania, facing the Royal Rumble winner in Jeff Hardy. Yes, we get John Cena versus Jeff Hardy in the main event of WrestleMania, resembling Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior for WrestleMania 6. And it's here where Jeff Hardy defeats John Cena to win his very first world title. And now the Creatures of the Night have their champion. John Cena does not get close to the world title again till the fall of 2009, where he faces the World Heavyweight Champion, Randy Orton, who will come over to Raw, who was on SmackDown, and Jeff Hardy will go over to SmackDown, who was on Raw. So the champions do change brands. And John Cena faces Randy Orton throughout the summer going into the fall, where Randy Orton keeps finding ways to escape John Cena through legacy, through DQs or countouts, but he can't escape Hell in a Cell. So with John Cena versus Randy Orton at the very first Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and John Cena defeats Randy Orton to win the World Heavyweight Championship for the very first time. And John Cena will hold that World Heavyweight Championship going all the way up to Elimination Chamber 2010, where Batista will defeat John Cena to become the new World Heavyweight Champion, outlasting 5 other competitors. In the same timeline, we still get heel Batista. Batista tells John Cena, "You never beaten me. I am your biggest obstacle that you will never overcome." While you're kissing babies and kissing fat girls. I can't believe it. That nigga said, while you hugging fat girls and kissing babies, I was winning world titles and beating people up. And they still have that feud going into WrestleMania 26, with the story being, can John Cena defeat Batista, or does Batista just have John Cena's number? Where the answer will wind up being John Cena eventually does beat the odds and defeat Batista for the very first time to regain the World Heavyweight Championship. Cena will keep that title going all the way up until the summer, until he loses it to the Money in the Bank winner and Christian. Now I know in real life, there was a pay-per-view was called Fatal 4-Way. I hate the concept of having a pay-per-view called Fatal 4-Way, so yeah, that's not going to be the case. we'll go back to calling it the Great American Bash or the Bash or some abbreviation of that, where Christian will take on the head-up fade versus John Cena, as Christian will wind up winning the World Heavyweight Championship by cheating, turning heel, and Christian is now your new World Heavyweight Champion and wins his very first world title. Following this, John Cena will wind up feuding with the Nexus for the rest of the year, going even into 2011 with The Rock coming back, them have their back and forth, but still John Cena's main focus is Wade Barrett, leading up to another match between Wade Barrett and John Cena at Over the Limit 2011. And it's here where John Cena defeats Wade Barrett and becomes WWE Champion, which would lead to, in the real timeline, John Cena versus CM Punk at Money in the Bank, with CM Punk doing the infamous pipe bomb and stating when he wins the title, he will leave the WWE, which he still does. Goes on to WrestleMania 28 to face The Rock, where he loses, and then he goes on to have the worst year of his career, all the way up to WrestleMania 29, where he does not face The Rock, but he ends up facing another opponent at WrestleMania, which brings us to the fall of 2013, where Mark Henry, who is your World Heavyweight Champion, has his Salmon suit on, which you know what that means. He says he has to retire. He has career-ending injury where he won't be able to continue to compete. However, if there's one man that's been the cornerstone of this industry, of this company, that guy has been John Cena, and he wants to hand over the title to John, who he was originally supposed to face in John Cena's hometown at Survivor Series. And as John Cena comes out to hug Mark Henry, boom! World's Strongest Slam. Mark Henry duped us all, duped John Cena. So we still get the fake retirement where Mark Henry says, I will never hand over this title. You have to put me in a body bag, but that's not going to be my fate. That will be yours. And so we get John Cena versus Mark Henry for the World Heavyweight Championship. And John Cena defeats Mark Henry for the World Heavyweight title and wins the title for the very first time in his hometown of Boston, even though he's from Westbury, Massachusetts, but whatever. Which will lead us to WrestleMania 30. WrestleMania 30, John Cena will defend his World Heavyweight Championship against the Royal Rumble winner and WWE Champion CM Punk. Yeah. CM Punk wins the WWE title in the Rumble because at the time, Daniel Bryan was the WWE Champion, but Triple H and the Authority made Daniel Bryan defend the title in the Rumble, not knowing that it will be CM Punk to end up winning the Rumble. So we actually get CM Punk to stay in the WWE and main event WrestleMania, which he rightfully deserved. And so we get the greatest rivalry of the current generation of John Cena, CM Punk, one-on-one actually at WrestleMania. And it's to unify the titles to see who will be the new undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And the winner would be CM Punk. CM Punk will be your new undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Champion. However, the John Cena CM Punk rivalry will not be over that quickly, as they will feud throughout the rest of the spring, leading up to Payback, where CM Punk will defend his title in his hometown of Chicago, Illinois, and says if he wins, he will retire as the WWE Champion, as he has nothing left to prove. He has done everything he wanted to in this business, but he will not leave with the title. He will relinquish the title if he wins. But it won't be any type of match. It will be an Iron Man match. So John Cena versus CM Punk in an Iron Man match, where John Cena finally defeats CM Punk to win the WWE Undisputed Championship, and will go on to defend the title going up to SummerSlam 2014, where he will defend it versus someone he's never faced before, and Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt, who is going on a year since his debut on the main roster at WWE. And Bray Wyatt is someone who does not feel pain. He does not feel fear. And someone who John Cena won't be able to conquer. And Bray Wyatt would be correct, as Bray Wyatt defeats John Cena and shocks the world again, as it was Bray Wyatt who ended the streak at WrestleMania 30. So in the real timeline, the streak still ends, but your new monster that will have to be overcome is not Brock Lesnar. It will be Bray Wyatt. And from here, John Cena will go on a run of not holding the title for 3 years. It's not until we get to 2017 where John Cena makes his return to SmackDown and to the WWE on the July 4th edition of SmackDown Live, where he faces the WWE Champion in AJ Styles. And they have the match that they had at Royal Rumble here, where they never leave the ring. 25 to 30 minutes of just pure wrestling, where John Cena defeats AJ finally to win the WWE Championship. However, that title reign will last only a few months, as he will go on to SummerSlam in the main event to face the Money in the Bank briefcase winner, who decides to cash in straight up without it being a surprise. And that Money in the Bank winner is Shinsuke Nakamura. So it's John Cena versus Shinsuke Nakamura in the main event of SummerSlam 2017. And Shinsuke gets the best of John Cena and becomes your new WWE Champion. And that will be the last WWE title John Cena will hold in my alternative universe. So when you count it all up, in my universe, John Cena is only a 12-time world champion, not a 16-time world champion, which still isn't too shabby, and his title reigns were way longer than just 3 weeks here and there. So I'm not even gonna hold you. This was a lot of fun. Basically redoing John Cena's whole career solely based off his world title wins. This is something that I wouldn't mind doing again, maybe for like a Triple H or an Edge or Randy Orton, I don't know. But yeah, let me know what you think. How many times do you think John Cena should have been a world champion? Do you think it should have been less than 16, more than 16? But like, comment, subscribe, share all the things of the things. Welcome to the Hive, bitch. Then Cesar King, your hardcore casual fan. And if you're not down with that, I got 2 words for you. Suck it.
I'm the best. I'm the best in the world.